All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Steve,
And I'm Matt.
and welcome to the Manzone podcast. Everything a man needs to know. Now, on this podcast, we're going to be talking sports, cars, working out, really anything any man needs to know. Right, Matt?
Everything a man needs to know.
So, Matt, what do you want to talk about for our first topic for sports? You want to do MLB, NFL, NHL, NBA? What are you thinking?
Well, since baseball's almost in the World Series, let's start with baseball.
All right, so right now, we already know the Cleveland Indians moving on to the World Series. Who do you have, Cubs or Dodgers?
Well, right now the Cubs have a 3-2 lead in the series. Series is heading back to Chicago. They do have a tough test against Clayton Kershaw, who is pitching Game 6. But I mean, the series is definitely favoring the Chicago Cubs, considering, I mean, they're up 3-2, and now they have the next 2 games at home. If it goes to a Game 7, regardless, the series stays at Wrigley Field. So I think the series has to favor the Chicago Cubs.
I would agree, but I think it will end up going to a Game 7. I mean, you have Clayton Kershaw pitching Game 6. In my opinion, this looks like it's going to be a great finish to the NLCS, and I think it will go the distance to Game 7 with the Cubs on top.
Well, it's definitely been more exciting than
The ALCS.
the ALCS, which went 5. But
Yeah, it seems like there was a lot of sweeps. Baseball's always fun to watch postseason. I always liked watching it. I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but I have a saying that I'll watch anything in the playoffs, whether it's ping pong, basketball, baseball, whatever.
ping pong, really?
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's the playoff atmosphere to me is the best atmosphere. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you're not a true fan if you just watch during the playoffs. But I would disagree and say, if you like the sport or just sports in general and you like that feel of the playoffs, it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'm definitely questioning you on that whole ping pong.
Yeah.
But
Maybe a bad example.
I mean, this is Manzone here. Come on, that's not really a man sport.
Hey. Anyways, so we both think that the Chicago Cubs are going to go into the World Series. So let's say Cubs. Let's just take it for instance here. Cubs, Indians, World Series. Who do you have in mind?
Before we go to that World Series prediction there, if I could just bring up a fact that the last time the Chicago Cubs were this close to a World Series, where they were heading into a Game 6.
The Bartman game, right?
It was
is
the
that
Bartman
what bringing up?
game,
Oh,
man.
God.
This is going to be interesting, too, the final games at Wrigley Field. In my opinion, I think Bartman should be at that game. I think somehow, some way, that guy should get a free ticket and should make an appearance.
I don't know about Game 6, but I think maybe if they make the World Series, they should bring him in. I don't know. That does raise a good question. If you're Steve Bartman, would you even want to go? Would you really want to relive that experience being at Wrigley Field and having all that happen?
I mean, I don't believe it's going to happen again. Obviously, the guy, after what happened to him 13 years ago, is going to be a lot smarter in that situation. But, I mean, last season, all the Chicago Cubs fans were talking about, oh, we want to buy this guy a ticket and get him into the game. And, now here we are again, Game 6, Cubs up 3-2. Why not bring Bartman back?
Yeah, it would be interesting, but I don't even think the Cubs are even going to, talk to him or recognize him. I mean, I'm sure ESPN and all the sports networks are going to bring up the Bartman game. I'm sure he's not too happy about it, but, I mean, I feel so bad for that guy. He had to endure so much after that catch he made.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel bad for him, and me, who is a former Chicago Cubs fan and actually stopped liking the Chicago Cubs all because of that incident. So I definitely know how it felt, and I honestly, to it 13 years later, it's just like, how is that guy still not around in Chicago? It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I do think that the Cubs will probably end up losing. If I know anything about baseball, I really believe that the Cubs are going to end up losing Game 6 and it's going to go to a Game 7. I would rather be wrong, though, on that. I just would rather see the Cubs just win and get it over with because Game 7, it's anybody's game.
Yeah, I mean, let the Cubs get that World Series. It would be exciting, especially, I mean, Obviously I don't believe Steve Bartman's going to be back for Game 6 or Game 7 or any game in the World Series if they get that far. But if the Chicago Cubs end up winning the World Series, I feel like we will see him somewhere down the line.
Or at least we'd like to hope so.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look. The Red Sox, when they broke the curse, brought back Bill Buckner. So,
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, I guess getting back to the former question a couple minutes ago, we were talking, if we do see Cubs Indians in the World Series, who do you got and why, man?
I got to stick with the Chicago Cubs, and it's just because what I've seen the entire season. The team just does not give up, and they show a lot of similarity to what the Kansas City Royals showed a year ago, who are technically still the defending World Series champs. But this team just never gives up, and it seems like whether 3 runs down the ninth, they were actually down 2-1 in the series, ended up coming alive. Their bats came alive, and they took the next 2. And it just seems like to me that this team clicks when they need to desperately. So,
yeah, I also think they're the better team. I think they have more talent. Their hitting lineup is a lot better than Cleveland's.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Cleveland, but I mean, really, what has got them this far? I mean, obviously, they have been missing a good portion of their starting pitching throughout this postseason. Obviously, Carlos Carrasco's out. Danny Salazar could return in the World Series, but that's still questionable. I mean, the entire playoffs, they've been without their two of their 3 main pitchers. And what Terry Francona has been doing is, hey, get me 3 innings through my starters, and my bullpen's coming into the game.
Yeah, but, I mean, that probably would work maybe the first game, second game, maybe even into the third, but I think if that series goes the distance, the Cubs are definitely going to come out on top because you're just going to wear down your pitchers over time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there.
But then again, you could also have something like when Madison Bumgarner pitched against the Royals back in 2014 or 2015. I think it was 2014.
2014.
Right?
Always an even year for
Always
Matt
an
Bum.
even year. I forgot. I'm sorry. But, I mean, he pitched what? 2.5 games, basically? Or almost 3?
Yeah, I believe he started 2 games in that series and then closed.
He closed Game 7,
yeah,
right?
4 inning save, I believe it was.
But, I mean, not every pitcher's obviously Madison Bumgarner, but you wonder if these pitchers can go into Game 7 and how tired will they be. And Chicago's bats are hot right now, and you have to think that's going to play a big factor into this too.
Oh, definitely. And the only way I can see the Cleveland Indians taking this is the fact is if they give their bullpen a lead, they're obviously not. Their bullpen's not going to give it up. But I mean, actually, at the same time, I can question that because it seems like Chicago always in the 8th or 9th inning somehow miraculously makes a comeback. But I mean, we shall see. In my opinion, I just think the Cubs, what they're going to do is they're going to attack that starting pitching where they want that lead before that Cleveland Indians bullpen comes into that game. So, Cubbies all the way. Let's go.
Okay, so another for instance, let's say the Dodgers win Game 6 and Game 7 against the Cubs, going to the World Series against the Indians. Who do you think is coming out on top in that one?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
And I feel like a lot of people aren't even considering the Dodgers in the World Series yet. I think a lot of people, I think if you ask 75% of people, they would say, I think the Cubs are going to make the World Series this year. But, I mean, who knows? And I think a lot of people aren't giving the Dodgers credit of even making the World Series yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not looking that way. I mean, there's definitely, the tides definitely turn sometimes, as we saw in the NBA Finals last year. But sticking on the same sport here with MLB, the Dodgers, if the Dodgers make the World Series, Dodgers in Cleveland, as much as I want to say the momentum is going to go to the Dodgers in this one, I think Cleveland would pull this one out just because I feel like Cleveland has more of the talented team. And as I was watching last night's Game 5, and Carlos Ruiz was batting cleanup for that Dodgers lineup.
Yeah.
Which I understand John Lester was on the mound, and so, they didn't want to bat their normal cleanup guy in Adrian Gonzalez, who's a left-handed hitter. But you're going to tell me there's not one better player,
And Carlos Ruiz,
a
yeah.
better right-handed bat on your team than a guy who batted .205 with like 3 home runs this year?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, that honestly was mind-boggling, considering the fact that this guy was batting cleanup for a Philadelphia Phillies team last year. He won 65 games.
Yeah.
And now he's in the NLCS, and he's batting cleanup again. Like, it was mind-boggling to me. And I just feel like seeing that, it's just telling me that, the Dodgers team relies a lot on Clayton Kershaw in their starting pitching.
Yeah, and it looks like the Dodgers, they're almost like an old team. It almost reminds me of the Yankees. It seems like they're trying to buy a World Series. Aren't they they're $100 million over their salary cap, aren't they?
They're something like that. I believe their payroll is $50 million, I believe, over the New York Yankees.
That's crazy to me. I mean, when I was little, I always thought the Yankees were always going to be the top paid team, always going to be trying to push the salary cap. And here it's the Dodgers of all teams. It's hard to believe.
It's been. I mean, the Dodgers, especially Magic Johnson is one of their owners now. They have a bunch of owners out there, and that team's just completely changed. Like, they're trying to buy their way into a World Series, which, they can tell by the Yankees. I mean, obviously the Yankees have the most World Series in MLB history, but it hasn't been working over the last decade. Obviously, winning in 2009, but besides that, they haven't won one in quite some time.
Yeah, and to me that's a really good thing, because it gets boring if you just see, the highest paid team always winning. To me, that's not fun. It's fun seeing, especially when we saw Kansas City Royals win back in 2015, last year's World Series. It was fun because they're a very small team. They don't have a high salary cap. They got through that World Series just from their farm system and just playing good old-fashioned baseball, stealing bases, doing what they had to do to get there. And, that's really commendable.
Exactly. That's the same thing the San Francisco Giants did the year before to beat Kansas City in 2014. Honestly, one player, Madison Bumgarner was obviously on top of his game in 2014, but at the same time, they just played fundamental baseball. They don't really, they don't overpay players. They kind of go with what they have, and like you said, fundamental baseball, that's what wins championships.
Yeah, and it's a shame we couldn't see the Kansas City Royals in the playoffs this year. Obviously, a lot of injuries plagued the team. I think they did lose a couple pieces since the World Series. It seems that every team that once they win a championship, everybody wants a bigger contract, and the team can't always meet those needs.
Well, yeah, definitely. Depth is also another thing which you need in every sport. Like, for instance, the Chicago Cubs this year lost one of their big power hitters in Kyle Schwarber, who got hurt in, I believe, the first or second game of the season. And he was, everyone was talking about him being the big bat this year for this team. Tore his ACL first or second game of the year. And just what the Cubs have shown this year is, they have depth on this team. And which, if we're going to NFL here, you see New England. Why do they win the AFC East year after year? Is because, obviously a great quarterback, good coaching, but their depth is deep, and that's what you need in sports.
Yeah, I would completely agree. Like you were saying, depth is a huge thing in any sport, especially sports like contact sports like football or well, maybe not as much hockey anymore, but football probably being the biggest one that I can think of where depth is such a big deal. Because if you look at the New England Patriots, they always have a guy ready to fill in the shoes of whoever's there. I think depth, especially like I was saying in football, is a really big deal.
Yeah, it definitely is. You see injuries left and right in that sport. And honestly, like every 5 minutes of a football game there's an injury commercial. So, there's many players who get hurt in that sport. It's a very physical sport, and you see that in all sports. All sports are definitely physical. I think baseball kind of takes a lot of people don't look at baseball as a physical sport, but you still have to be an athlete to be able to play that sport.
Yeah, especially as a pitcher. You're taking a lot of abuse as a pitcher with your arm and the movements and everything. Who is that one pitcher you used to like that had like a really awkward form, and that's what led to his injury.
Mark Pryor.
Yeah, Mark Pryor. I mean,
Pryor,
he's a perfect example. I mean,
He's with the 2003 Chicago Cubs.
yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, those pitchers, they could throw strikes 100 miles an hour, but people don't realize what a toll it takes on your body to throw a ball that fast.
Oh yeah, yeah, it definitely. See, his problem was with horrible mechanics, though.
Exactly, the form is what led to his injuries.
Yeah, which is kind of scary though for Steven Strasburg, considering that guy is the same exact mechanics. So
yeah, I mean the surgeries and the medicine behind what's helping these pitchers recover has gotten better, but I mean you don't even know if it's going to be a long-term effect. And a lot of guys come back, especially from like Tommy John surgery, and it's really hit or miss.
Yeah. Well, poor Mark Pryor. I was praying for that guy's comeback, but it really didn't turn out too well.
Yeah, it's a shame. But moving on to the NFL, we have a lot of good matchups this week. I want to cover with you some different things. First off, your boys playing in London this week. The New York Giants versus the Los Angeles Rams. What do you think about the offense, especially with New York obviously struggling, trying to get on a roll? It seems like it hasn't been on a roll really since the Washington game.
Well, actually, that's not 100% true, considering last week our offense exploded.
Yeah, at the end of the game against Baltimore.
I wouldn't say exploded, I would really say Eli Manning and Odell Beckham exploded in the end of that game. But one thing that I do take for granted this week is the fact that the game is in London. Obviously, I love the fact they're on TV, but I have to wake up at 9:30 just to watch my team play. On Sundays, my earliest time to wake up is like 10.
For me, I'd like to talk a little bit about this whole football in London thing. For me, it almost doesn't make sense. I mean, no European teams coming over here and shoving soccer down our throats. A lot of people that actually go to that game are Americans that are on vacation and want to be in London and go to watch the games because the tickets are like dirt cheap. So it's almost worth it to fly out to London, get a hotel, and pay probably $30 or $40 for an NFL ticket to watch at the London Stadium to watch two NFL teams play. I don't agree with what the NFL's doing. I get it; they're trying to expand the market out of the United States, but this sport was founded in the United States. I think it should stay here. If people want to see it, they should come over. I don't see anybody in Europe, begging American football players to come over and play for them.
Well, here's another point, which we're kind of going to get off topic with sports here, but let's look at the fact, let's say Donald Trump becomes president and stops illegal immigrants from coming over. So now they can't come over here to come see some football.
Well, you can come on vacation to see it if you get a visa and everything.
Yeah, well, no, honestly, that was just a joke.
Oh, yeah. But, moving on, so who do you have in this game, the Giants or the Rams? I'm
going to take the Giants just because... always biased. Always
biased.
I thought the Giants were going to be 19-0 this year, winning the Super Bowl, winning every game. But, I predict that every year. But beyond the point, though, I think last week, from what I saw against, a good Baltimore Ravens defense and being able to win that game was definitely a huge momentum boost for us. And honestly, the LA Rams, they start the season out 3-1. I like their team, but they are still missing that quarterback, which Case Keenum is not playing bad, but honestly, I don't believe he's the guy for them. So I don't like where the Rams are right now.
Yeah, and everybody's still wondering, where's the number 1 overall pick, Jared Goff? Is he ever going to play? I don't see it happening this season. Do you?
It's definitely a big question. So Jeff Fisher, who came out strong this year and said to his team before the season started, he said, "I'm not here to coach an 8-8 team again." He's watched his team go 8-8 or 7-9 the last 3 or 4 seasons. He came out and told his team that he doesn't want to coach an 8-8 team. So, they started the year 3-1. They looked good. I'm sure Jeff Fisher was happy with it. Lost their next 2. Case Keenum, who was not playing bad. From what I saw, it doesn't look like he's turning the football over that much. But if they lose this game in London, where they would lose their 3rd straight game, I think it's time for Jeff Fisher, who came out and said, "I'm not here to coach an 8-8 team," really has some thought to put into, that number 1 overall pick who's sitting on his bench.
Yeah, and I mean, we're in Philadelphia. We're in Philadelphia right now. I'm a big Philadelphia fan, so I'm used to the term called tanking. And you wonder if Jeff Fisher has the idea of, if we lose, I don't want to be a mediocre team. I can't keep being 8-8. Let me just put in Goff, see what he can do, let him get his reps, and maybe get a better draft pick out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely questionable. I mean, I don't believe, the LA Rams are going to finish in the top 5 for NFL draft next year. I can't see the record being that bad. But, I mean, yeah, you definitely bring up a valid point with, Jeff. But at the same time, though, I don't think Jeff Fisher is looking, as well as any other coach in the NFL or any other franchise. They're not looking whether or not what draft pick they're getting. They're out there to win. And they just want to win football games. That's what Jeff Fisher's trying to do. But, he wants to... I can't tell you how good Jared Goff is, if he's good or not. But, Case Keenum is not the guy. And the number 1 overall pick, you're telling me, is sitting on that bench.
Yeah.
And, if he is still sitting on that bench after losing 3 straight games, it's Jeff Fisher to me, it looks like he wants to be 8-8 again.
Well, I agree. I think you have to draw the line somewhere of just, are we going to be mediocre? Are we going to fall back? Or are we really going to try and make an effort at this? I mean, every player wants to win. No player wants to be on a losing team. No one wants to be on a team that's purposely tanking. I really don't think most teams purposely tank. I think it's just the way it happens. But I would rather, as a coach, if I know I'm not going to do anything in the playoffs this year, I'd rather give a lot of my rookies reps and see what they can do, to see if they can be on the squad next year and see if they have potential to grow into something better.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I mean, you've been an Eagles fan for a few years now.
Yeah.
But, honestly, as much as I used to call you a bandwagon, honestly, you kind of watched their rebuilding stage. You watched through Chip Kelly, which was probably a horrible experience. I feel bad for you.
Well, it's funny because I actually really like Chip, and I was ashamed to see him go. I was really sad to see him go. But watching Doug Peterson in this offense, it does bring me back to the Andy Reid glory days. I mean, a lot of his plays, they're not exactly like Andy Reid's, but they remind me a lot. You have, double option, jet sweep type plays where, it almost looks like a college play, but it actually works in the NFL. And the problem with Chip Kelly was he has a very college-oriented playbook, and he's not adapting the NFL. The first season, it worked really well. Eagles went 10-6, lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Saints, but that was because no one really could see the type of offense he was bringing coming. And then once they figured out, the defense is going to be on the field most of the game, as long as we can tire out that defense and make sure to keep their offense off the field, we're going to win this game. And with Doug Peterson, you don't have that. The offense has completely flipped from being first in the league or last in the league for time of possession to now they're one of the top teams in the league for time of possession, besides the Redskins game we just watched where the Redskins had the ball for almost 2 quarters straight. But, yeah, it's rebuilding is not easy. It's kind of hard to watch, but it is nice to watch the pieces come together to hopefully make a run at the playoffs.
Yeah, and we shall see, especially in that tough NFC East.
And, it's funny. We always used to call it the NFC least. But, your guys are sitting at the bottom of the division as a 500 team. There's no other division in the league that even really comes close to that.
I know, and stupid Skip Bayless, I keep listening to that show of his, I guess.
Skip and Shannon?
Yeah, I guess that promo or whatever that they show on TV, and I listened to where he's saying that Cowboys are going to feast on the NFC least. Well, one, buddy, I know you're a professional at this, but obviously a 3-3 team in last place does not make that division, the least in the NFL.
To me, our division, the Eagles division and the NFC East, it's getting a lot more fun to watch. All the teams are actually pretty good this year. It's really anybody's ball game. I got to say, though, it really looks like if Dak Prescott keeps playing the way he plays, he stays healthy, that Cowboys' line stays healthy, and the defense just, it's not the greatest defense, but it is pretty good. They could really, I think they could end up winning this division, sadly, and possibly making a pretty deep run into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I definitely could say it, but my thing is, though, I feel like there could be a good possibility, regardless of the NFC East division winner. I feel like there could be 3 playoff teams coming out of the NFC East. From what I'm seeing so far, I mean, I can be completely